Greetings, family. Peace and love to you and yours. This is Guru, and thanks for visiting my channel. Family, this video is about Becky, who died after an overdose when 5 bags of ecstasy exploded in her stomach. Now, this girl here, Becky, she has been touted as academically gifted. Well, that's all gone down the drain, as her family found out that, well, she was a drug addict. Well, let's go into the story. You see, a teenage law student from Britain died while on holiday in Ibiza after 5 bags of ecstasy exploded in her stomach, an inquest heard. Rebecca Brock, 18, was discovered with a pool of blood next to her head in a hotel room after traveling to the party island for a friend's birthday. Nottingham Coroner's Court heard staff found the academically gifted student unresponsive in her room at the Hotel Marco Polo on September 28, 2015. Spanish police began an investigation after the amount of the Class A drug in her system was, quote, double the level, unquote, of a normal fatal dose. Giving evidence, Brock's mother, Margarita Brock, said Spanish authorities say 5 bags were found which were wrapped with elastic bands. They said it would probably have been 4 hours before something happened. Brock revealed how her daughter had openly talked about experimenting with cocaine in the past, but did not think she would have taken so much ecstasy at one time. Now, family, I'm going to stop right there because I got a little confused when I read that. It sounds like there's somewhat of a cover-up of Becky's drug use here. Again, it says that her mother said that the daughter talked about experimenting with cocaine in the past, and then she switches gears real quickly and says, but I didn't think she would have taken so much ecstasy at one time. Interesting that she would say it that way, but I'm gonna continue. Quote, she tried cocaine with people she knew and people around her she knew, unquote. She said to her sister afterwards that she didn't like it, so she didn't have to worry. She was very clear about what she let into her body and what she didn't. Well, it sounds like her sister, or this sister, Becky here, was lying to her family members. That's the bottom line. Because after all, the coroners revealed the evidence that this was in fact inside of her body. Brock added that her daughter had a difficult time swallowing pills and couldn't imagine how she would have ingested the bags. Well, parents usually are in the state of shock when one of their kids dies, so I can understand why the mother is in disbelief and she doesn't want to believe her daughter Becky is a drug abuser, I'm sure, or a drug addict. After all, she's been touted as academically gifted. Well, at least she was. But anyways, it says, quote, Becky would tell me difficult things. She was quite open about the drugs. It was the weight issues that she was less keen to talk about. Quote, she wouldn't take any pills easily. I can't imagine that getting in her body at all. If she didn't have to take a pill, she wouldn't do it because she couldn't swallow it, unquote. I can't see any other way than someone making that happen. You see, again, her mom doesn't even want to believe that her daughter was using drugs or taking drugs, and she's trying to place blame on, well, some outsider. But anyways, Nottinghamshire coroner Mayren Casey recorded a conclusion that Brock's death was drug related. Casey said, quote, Becky's parents, Margarita and Martin, dearly cared for her. She was academically gifted and was clearly cherished by her friends and family. She was well traveled with her family and had impressive results in her A levels. Well, not anymore. Becky was also very body conscious and at one point was very thin. This was something her family were mindful of, and they trusted that it was something in her own way she was addressing. she moved away from home when she went to study in the Netherlands. Quote, she went on holiday to Ibiza in September 2015, where she visited twice in the summer. We remain, sadly, without some information that is particularly significant to the family and indeed for me. Well, let me stop right there for a second. So they say that at one point she was very, very thin. Now that's interesting because anyone who has used drugs before, if you've experimented and dabbled in cocaine, you know that those type of drugs do make you lose a lot of weight. So Becky here was a drug abuser. She was a drug addict, and her parents and her family just don't want to face those facts. But anyways, let me continue. On September 22nd, Becky flew to Ibiza from the Netherlands. It was something she had organized herself. She was captured on CCTV imaging, and it is clear she had checked into her hotel. On her arrival, Becky had various communications. Now, why this story is going into all of this BS, I don't know. But anyways, it says Becky and her friends planned to meet on the night of September 22nd, and they went to a club, with many of them socializing together. She didn't have any contact with anyone after September 23rd. On the morning of September 28th, she was tragically found deceased in the hotel room. Spanish authorities gave the cause of death as an adverse reaction to drugs and a ruptured body pack. The date of death was recorded as September 26th. Quote, the evidence given by the experts was extensive, and today I rely on their reports to make the following findings. Quote, Becky died of MDMA intoxication, commonly known as ecstasy. In other words, she overdosed. I find that no other substance was found in her body that could have contributed to her death. I find that she had not taken alcohol other than in a moderate amount. Well, she had alcohol then. If you found a moderate amount, she had taken alcohol. It says, I find that she had not taken alcohol, and then it goes into saying other than in a moderate amount. Really, they're trying to cover up Becky's wrongdoings and why she's dead. That's all. They're just trying to sugarcoat it. And anyways, it says there was no evidence of a form of assault. No witnesses to the investigation had seen her take drugs in Ibiza. I find it impossible to say how a pack of packs were ingested. How these bags were in her stomach, we will never know. Quote, it is likely that Becky became unwell and confused and most probably died in a short time thereafter. It is not possible to say whether she would have been conscious or not. The conclusion I arrive at is this is a drug-related death. Addressing the family, she added, quote, I would also like to mention your tremendous dignity here today. I cannot imagine what the loss must have felt like. I have done the best I can to give you some answers, and I offer you my sincerest condolences. After the inquest, Brock said outside court, quote, the coroner probably said it all. I don't want to add much more to that, unquote. There are some answers, but there are also some clear gaps. With that said, family, that's the end of this story. Becky, like I said, an academically gifted student. This girl here, Becky, died after 5 bags of ecstasy exploded in her stomach. What it sounds like is Becky tried to smuggle these drugs to Ibiza, to this party island, to share with her friends. But that never happened. Why? Well, you know why. I'm going to end it off there. Thanks a lot for watching. Becky with the good hair is no longer with the good hair. Peace out.